Hello and welcome. Today we are going over the mounting of the various parts of the quantum resonance wall mount crystal bed. Now, this black box is the portion that you see and connect with on a day-to-day basis. This is the what we call the control box, and then there's going to be some other parts that are mounted underneath the table. With this control box, we have two brackets that attach underneath it, and we also have a template to use to make this job a little bit easier. The template is accurate along the top, and so you can use a level or you can eyeball it. I use levels. You can use a Sharpie to mark out 4 of the 6 holes. There's 2 additional holes that we're going to get to in a little bit. But the ones that you're going to be concerned with are the ones that are oblong. So the oval shaped ones are the ones that you're going to mark down. When you have that done, go ahead and put your tabs down and use the associated 2-inch lag screws with their own driver bit to screw them into place. You don't want to do it fully tight right now because these are going to need to wiggle around a little bit until you get it right. What we're looking for is when you put this down on it, that the tabs are nice and snug against it. So when we go and lift this up, we can then take the one that has the horizontal cuts and just tighten one of those for now. On the other side, we're going to check for level of the box. So once again, if your level's long enough, you can actually just spread it across here. Otherwise, you can go back to this unit and throw the level on it and check for level, pull it off, and then mount. Tighten these down, tighten this down. When that's all done, go through and put this screw in and this screw in. Now these guys don't have the ability to make this slide around, which is why you're putting them in last. So once that's all done, we can then move on to the underside of the system. Oh yeah. How are you going to attach this, you're asking? We have 4 of these 8mm bolts that get screwed into each side. So on the bottom, underneath the massage table, or what you're using for vibrations, we have the I-beam transducers. So let's go over those. The I-beam comes in a blue box. And this is what it looks like. And this is the top side. This is the bottom side. The bottom side has the screws in it. That's the holes for the screws. The screws that you're going to be using are one of 2 different sizes. One is black, one is silver. The silver one is longer for 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch wood. The black one is for 1/4 inch wood. So again, silver is for 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch. You don't need to write this down. Just know that if you use the silver screw on shallow wood, it's going to burst through. And then you're going to have 20 little screw holes total that are poking into your fabric. So that's why we have 2 different screw holes, so you can get the right length. You're going to use 10 screws on each one of the transducers. Screw them in nice and tight. Do not over tighten, but get it so it's nice and tight. The placement of these doesn't matter which direction or how they're pointed this way, but it does matter is that there's going to be one around where the heart is, and then the second one is going to be right below the butt, maybe 3 to 5 inches below the butt is a great spot for it. When these are mounted, You can then use your gold colored wire, which has its own connector, and it'll be in a bag labeled for the transducers with the black and red, and then black and red as well. So each one of these goes to its own transducer. These are different lengths. It doesn't matter which one it goes to, except whichever one it reaches. So we have them in different lengths because of where the control box is and the wires drop and things like that. So there's a black dot on one side, red dot on the other. Push in, stick your little feet in, and you're done. You do that to both, and then you're ready to mount this into the either control box itself or the crossover, depending on how we have this set up. So with this particular one, if you didn't get an ivory box, skip over to the next one where we plug it directly into the control box. But if you did get the ivory box, you have mounting tabs on the ivory box. This can be mounted on the wall. Do not mount this on the underside where the vibrations of the transducers are. Do not mount it there. I even wrote it, do not place on transducer surface. Place on wall under table. And you can orient this any direction you want. So this part goes up to the control box. The part that you just did with the transducers has its own, where it can plug into this one here or this one here. What's the difference? One of them says all sound, which means that it gets 100% of the sounds. The second one is for low sounds only, meaning it only gets the vibrations or the low end bass. My preference is for low sound only. It can get pretty loud if you have the all sound one for everyone in the neighborhood. Whereas when you just do the low sound one, it's much more contained. When this is all mounted, and it does have its own mounting screws, you're going to send this up through the edge of the vibration table, or if you're using a massage table, it's going to sneak away past it up into the control box. There is one other thing that goes underneath the table, and that is your power supply. Your power supply comes with two separate cords, one short, one long, that goes from the wall to the power supply. This is a standard power supply control that you find on TVs and things like that. Whichever one of these cords works, you can use, as far as, length goes and things like that. This other part plugs into the control box. Now, if we look at this control box, we have on the bottom the part for the power. That just pushes right up into it. You can see this flat section goes towards you. So when you want to remove this, press and grab this part. It wiggles back and forth, and then it comes off. This will not come off on its own. This is a locking tab, which is why you have to press and hold. So again, this part in, boom. And this one is from the transducers. You plug that in, you're good. They both run next to each other, and that's perfectly fine. In some audio circles, they tell you not to run audio and power next to each other if it's alternating current. This is direct current, which means it's not going to interfere with the sound in this cable. We're perfectly fine. There's also a choke here, which filters out any unwanted radio frequencies. Now, this power supply also comes with mounting brackets and screws for the mounting brackets. You can put this against a wall, or you can lay it down on a floor. Doesn't matter to us. There's a blue indicator light right about here on one side of it that tells you that it's working. This says power supply, place under table. This power supply is energy efficient when it's not being used, so you can leave it plugged in, and it takes about 4 amps of current total. So most of your household AC wiring is 15 amps. So 4 amps is not a lot, so you're good to go.